All right, so it has finally happened. New enemies have been added to Helldivers 2. Now, technically, these are mutations of current bug enemies, and some people will probably just call them reskins, but they have new attacks and completely new spawn seeds on the terminid front. So we're just going to break down what's going on in the Galactic War today, as well as give you guys some loadout tips on fighting this new sort of sub-faction. That way you'll be well equipped to spread democracy against this new threat. All right, so first things first, let's dive in and take a look at what is happening with the Galactic War. So just a quick recap, if we take a look at the war table, obviously, you know, Angel's Venture was destroyed. The Meridian Singularity was barreling through it. And you can see we are getting an attack from Hellmire from inside the gloom onto Fenrir 3. With the message from Super Earth reading, terminids are surging at the gloom border, Fenrir 3 is under attack. The center of science on this planet is of vital importance to stopping the Meridian Singularity. The Ministry of Science's top astrophysicists are gathered there, researching both the singularity itself and the dark energy that somehow powers its movement. If the terminids are not stopped, they will overrun the center and slaughter the innocent scientists within, which cannot be allowed to happen. Their work is far too important. All Helldivers are ordered to defend Fenrir 3. The center of science must not be lost. Also, in a small Stroman News debrief, basically just giving us a bit more info, and it says the center's dark energy research is now at critical risk. Scattered reports on the new terminid indicate discoloration, increased intelligence, and drastic changes to hunting patterns. Information remains scarce as no SEAF units have returned from close encounters. This variant group has been dubbed the Predator Strain. All right, now let's get a little F in the comments. Whatever comment you leave below, make sure to put an F in there somewhere for those SEAF units who have not returned. But luckily, I have hopped into a few games already, and I have some reports on the new units we are dealing with. So the Predator Strain currently consists of 2 new units, one Predator-style Hunter and one Predator-style Stalker, both of which can spawn anywhere on the map normally. So yes, there is now a Stalker type of enemy all over the maps, inside of patrols, spawning inside of bug breaches, something I have been asking for a long time because it's super exciting. Now, between these 2 enemies, the new Hunter is actually quite a bit more terrifying than regular Hunters. But the new Stalker is actually a bit more of a toned down Stalker. They're not kind of as powerful as the ones that come from the bug holes. But they are very aggressive still. They will, you know, chase you down and still kill you, and they do have about the same health from what I could tell. All right, so the new Hunter has a few new attacks. It's pretty cool. They now go invisible, and I will say it's pretty crazy because I saw my teammate engage a patrol of them, and they just looked over at him and they all went invisible. It was super creepy, but super cool at the same time. Now, the other notable thing about these Hunters is they now spit acid when they do their tongue attacks. And I'll just say it, in the games I played today, I happened to be using the Killzone armor when I was playing these games, and the acid attacks from these Hunters hit me for like 1/4 of my health. Now, I know that's a combination of the actual tongue attack as well as the acid, but given that I'm wearing the Killzone armor, which has 50% acid resistance, these spit attacks might actually do a decent bit amount of damage, so maybe I would recommend trying out the Killzone set in that case. Those are the only 2 new attacks I've noticed from them. I've also noticed they kind of seem quicker at times. Like sometimes they could just run up to you super fast, but other than that, those are their 2 new main abilities. Now, the new Stalker, on the other hand, which honestly I kind of want to start referring to as Shadows because that was the enemy type that they were basically named in Helldivers 1. They're pretty much less threatening Stalkers than what we're used to, and someone named MGE Diver in my Discord actually referred to them more so as Alpha Hunters. They don't do the Stalker tongue punch where they fling you across the map, which honestly is welcome because there's a ton of them out there, and if they were just ragdolling us everywhere, I think people wouldn't like them. And so in that case, they pretty much just swipe at you. Now, they are like large and they're somewhat tanky and they are pretty fast, so they are still very threatening. But with that being said, as long as you're used to fighting Stalkers, then you really shouldn't have any trouble with these. All right, and with that being said, into a bit of the loadout tips, the weapons you will mainly be looking to use against this sub-faction are the ones with stagger or some other form of crowd control. I'm talking about the cookout, even the halt, if you just want to run stun support for your teammates. The Blitzer is an amazing option. And then again, even the Pummeler can feel all right if you bring like a Liberator guard dog with it. Just your favorite weapon in general with like stun and stagger potential is gonna feel really nice right now. I will say I did run a game with the Torture, even with the gas dog, and I was getting rushed even through all of that still with all the different hunters spawning and whatnot. Even the Torture felt a little bit bad. Now, obviously, I'm not saying the Torture is bad. Of course, it has a buttload of damage, but enemies will rush you through it, and I was even using the gas dog. One thing I'll say is the Stalwart loadouts I've been recommending will shine on these planets because the Stalwart actually does stagger hunters, and it has enough DPS to burst down stalkers very easily. You just want to aim for their heads. Stalkers' weak point is their head, obviously. It's just that they're hard to hit because their hands are covering it and whatnot. So something like the Stalwart, where you can just literally blast in as much bullets as possible. You only need to land about 3 or 4 to actually kill them. Now, before we get into the stratagem recommendations, one quick loadout that we actually used this morning for the Capture the Flag mission was the all-turret loadout. Pick your 3 favorite turrets. I went with the Gatling, the regular machine gun turret, and the autocannon turret. Some of my teammates even brought Tesla towers, and then we brought a few recoilless rifles just to blast down the heavies instantly so that the turrets would have no problem taking out the hordes. And then I also paired this with a cookout because the cookout helped me get from point to point, and then the turrets were for the bug breaches. And if there was like a nest or something or a patrol where I needed some extra firepower, the normal little MG sentry is always off cooldown. It can be called in for backup pretty much anytime I needed it. And the all turret with recoilless rifle has always been a fun and effective loadout I definitely recommend using. But some other notable stratagems are obviously going to be both of the guard dog backpacks, specifically the Dog Breath and the Liberator variants. Now, you want to kind of pair them with their opposites. So like the Liberator does damage, the Dog Breath does CC. You want to pair them with like kind of opposite primary weapons. For example, if you're using like a pure CC weapon like the Pummeler, you would want to use the Liberator Guard Dog. If you were using something that had a bit more DPS, like a Breaker Incendiary, for example, but it doesn't have any kind of stagger, then you would want to use the Dog Breath backpack. And both of these backpacks are really going to help you right now against this faction. Now, notably, anti-tank mines get a surprising shout out from me today because the Stalkers are actually big enough to trigger these. Now, the reason why anti-tank mines are so nice is because they will stop waves of chargers out of bug breaches, but they also explode on extra enemies like Brood Commanders, now the Stalkers, and just kind of some stuff like that. Now, keep in mind that there is a bug with the anti-tank mines where if you're carrying a crossbow, you will set it off because apparently the crossbow makes you heavy enough to do that. But they are actually very fun and effective. And one quick tip for the anti-tank mines, don't throw them directly on bug breaches because your teammates will spam stratagems on them and waste them. So throw them in between the bug breach and yourself, or throw them at your location and then back away from them. Besides that, all the turrets, including Tesla towers, can be great. And just so everyone is aware of Tesla tower etiquette, as soon as there aren't a lot of enemies near it, shoot it down, okay? It doesn't need to stay up forever. As soon as there isn't a ton of enemies nearby it anymore, just gun the thing down so that you can walk by. Anyone who brings a Tesla tower pretty much will understand this, you know? As long as you're not just shooting it down for no reason, or as long as, like, there's not a bunch of enemies nearby it, they're not going to mind. But besides that, stick to stagger weapons, CC weapons, even something like the arc thrower can probably be very fun. Even a weapon like the Dominator using the peak physique armor will definitely help you out against this sub-faction. And that's going to be our quick update today for the Galactic War, as well as some of the loadout tips. Go have some fun fighting the Predator strain of the bugs and spreading some democracy. Be sure to like this video if you liked it, and let me know in the comments what you think about this Predator strain. I remember when the Jet Brigade dropped, and it was literally just a million jetpack troopers, which aren't even a new enemy or anything, and everyone loved it. Honestly, it was really, like, kind of just refreshing to sort of just have, like, a new seed of enemies that were fighting in the Galactic War. But the Predator strain is even cooler because it's the same sort of thing, but there are actually some newer remixes of these enemies with different attacks. Honestly, I actually think the new hunters are really cool because they are creepy little invisible bastards that spit at you. And yeah, they are definitely nightmare fuel, but at the same time, I just think they're really awesome. And of course, when I call them awesome, I mean killing them and spreading democracy is awesome. Come on, guys, you already know me. So let me know what you guys think in the comments down below, and don't forget to put an F in your comment as well for those Seaf troopers who didn't make it back to report their findings. But you guys know that General Thickius has got you guys. All right, I ad-libbed that one at the end. But all right, I'll see you guys next time. I'm out.